Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Want to remind you all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course our official website is StephenKnightShow.com. All right, so Celo Green has been part of the music industry for many years, and his style is quite unique in comparison to other artists. Now, while he hasn't spoken much, he makes it clear he does not agree with the adult content that is included in music now during the interview he did with Far Out magazine. Now, while appreciating the feeling of music in the 60s and 70s, Celo says music doesn't feel the same in this era. He says most of today's music lacks morals and names artists like Nicki Minaj as a source of influence in today's artists. So a lot of music today is very unfortunate and disappointing on a personal and moral level. There was once a time when we could be savvy enough to code certain things. We could express to those, and they knew what they meant with their style language. But now music is shameless. He said there are many stereotypes that are perpetrated in music that have caused issues within the industry. He says artists should play a bigger part as role models, and he uses Nicki Minaj as an example. He said, you have head of state like Nicki Minaj or someone up there with the accolade, success, visibility, and the platform to influence. Nicki could be effective in so many ways, but it feels desperate. He continues saying that attention is also a drug and competition is around. I get it, the independent woman and being in control and the divine femininity, excuse me, as sexual expression. He said, I get all that, but at what cost? He also questions what the future of music, because you're saying if now they're just saying anything in music, what they're going to say in the next generation. And he's concerned about his grandkids that are young and what kind of role models they have. Ms. Parker, what are your thoughts? I know we were talking about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, their new video over the weekend. What are your thoughts on what Celo is saying about music being too much?
Where do I start? He is the most hypocritical. That whole statement just put a whole hypocrite stamp on it and keep it moving. That's how I feel. Because everyone knows him in Atlanta. All he does is swing. He's not a role model for anybody. He's not his personal lifestyle is on display in Atlanta. It's not the most uplifting to the Black community or womanhood or manhood or whatever the hell he's talking about. He's in and out of strip clubs. I think what it really is these men are washed up, and I'm going to be honest with you, washed up and really just hating on these young women because they're out here making music that they deem to be for a woman to be empowered her sexuality for some reason offends them. And so all of a sudden, these same men who were making music with artists and making similar music, all of a sudden have things to say that now they're the moral police. I've seen so many people on my timeline who's living lifestyles with, if you're worried about influence, worry about your own house first. You're living a lifestyle that does not influence your kids in a positive way in your own life. So doesn't it start at home? And you're worrying about what the artist is doing from an artist perspective. An artist should be able to do whatever they want. And if you don't like it, it's your job as a parent to vary your kids away from that. Every parent in every generation had music and movies and TV shows that they deemed immoral or wasn't good for their kids, whatever. It's been like that ever since the beginning of times. So what every parent has done has made choices that they felt would make their kids, better people and not listen to things like they'll want to or whatever the case may be. We have that same here. We have the same opportunity and the same challenges with parents today. And so I think really what it is a group of men who are not doing well because women are really doing well in music. These young women, and they are raunchy and talking about sex in a way that is unexpected. But guess what? Get over it. That's how I feel about it. Get over it.
Chika, do you think the music is too much now? Or some of these artists are too much?
With every generation, I guess there's a conversation for this. Mm-hmm. I remember being a preteen, and one of my mom's favorite songs was Martha and the Vandellas' Heat Wave. And I remember her showing me the dance that they used to do to that song called the Heat Wave. And for the time, for my mom to be a teenager and the time frame, and the I guess the sexuality in that dance, it was a bit much for her time period. And I was like, you were allowed to do this? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, this is kind of nasty. You know, I mean, it's not by today's standards, it wouldn't be nasty, but it was basically grinding. It was a grinding dance. And she was saying there was an outrage back then, and, you know, cut that noise off and stop doing that nasty dance. That was back then. So now you look at our children, there's no information that they cannot have with the information age. So I think the music suits the time period. People are going to be more overt now. People are going to be more sexualized. It just fits the time. And like Ms. Parker said, I think we need to get over it.
And I don't think it's just the fact that it's people being over-sexualized. I think it's a problem because it's women being over-sexualized. And for some reason,
me in
women
general,
having the power to be that way is offensive to men for some reason, to a lot of men.
Well, I don't look at it as it being a male and female. I know he was speaking about female. I'm speaking about in general. I remember a point in time, you know, I'll go back to Prince. He did a lot of suggestion. Prince did a lot of innuendo, which, you know, to some people that was a bit much. They didn't want the innuendo. They didn't want the suggestion. But now you're outright talking about it. It's according to the time period. It is what it is. And it's art. Art is subjective. I think that you should be allowed to create what type of art you want to create. And we just have to adapt to it. It is what it is. Maybe what the type of art that Celo admires and what he can make or wants to make does not sell the way that it used to sell. Maybe you just need to play to your core base, like most artists do. They find their niche and they rock with it.
No.
This is a big one for me. It's kind of big and loaded. I only have a few things I can speak to. One of the things that I would like to speak to is the fact that taking Celo out of the picture and just listening to his message, I think his heart is in the right place. I can understand his thoughts. I think I understand them. I can understand them. It's kind of like for me, watching a drug addict tell me not to do drugs. You know, it's not so much about, it's kind of like that message I got to take out of that and kind of understand that he's addicted to drugs, telling me not to do drugs for a reason, probably. I understand that. I don't know Celo and I don't know much about his personal life on display. Not really. I understand that could be a problem for many people, but for me, the message would be more important. Do I understand and respect his opinion and feeling of music as it is? It's his. Yeah, I'm cool with his opinion of that. That's the only thing I can speak to as far as that goes. With the people he mentioned, Megan, Cardi, I think you said he mentioned those two.
Well, he just mentioned Nicki Minaj, an example.
Oh,
he didn't say women in general. He just said an artist like Nicki Minaj.
An artist like her, she could be the state of, she's the head of the state or something like that. Right. Yeah, he's using examples. I don't personally have a problem with their art form. It is art, so it's super subjective and super however you want to take it. So there's not really any rules for it, as far as I'm concerned. But I can understand him and his plight. I think his heart's in the right place. Sometimes it just doesn't, it just doesn't align for some people.
Yeah, I know me when I used to hate when I heard like R&B artists cursing in the song. I felt like you really didn't need to do all that. I used to hate. That used to bother me. Now I don't really care anymore. But I do think there's something to what he's saying. I mean, obviously artists like Nicki Minaj is highly successful and hugely successful and top of her craft. But I remember I was listening to the City Girls album. Their new album came out. Every song talked about one of three things: their female parts, using men for money. They had one song called "A Broke N-Word Don't Deserve No P." And of course they can make music that way, but I do think that, when you think about timeless music, these songs won't be hits in 20 years. They won't be hits in 10 years. You know what I mean? People are making microwave music that lasts for a moment, and that's their choice. That's their choice. But I do
But
understand what
Stephen,
you're
do
saying.
we have these conversations when men come out with the same exact
I
albums
think
about jizz and all those things? Do we
no.
ever have these conversations?
I think it's the
A lot of
same
people
thing.
do. A lot of people do.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I've never seen the outrage that it is on social media right now over the song that Carly B and Megan just did. I have never seen so much outrage. I'm just so confused. Just like you chose to listen to the City Girls album. I'm listen. I support all of those women making any kind of music they want. They can talk about their body parts as nasty as they want to. I'm with it. But am I going to go buy it and listen to it? No. So you had a choice to not buy that or listen to it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think that's really
it's more to me. It's more of the type of music that we as consumers. That's what they play on the radio. Like that's what we're having here. So what I'm, of course they have the right to do whatever they want to do, and God bless them. But I think that when it comes to music overall, music has lost some of the class that it used to have. And I'm not blaming them for that because it's men and females. I'm not saying it's just the females. But
I'm not blaming them either. I'm not blaming anyone. Like I said, it's art. So you talk about what you talk about. I can understand his heart's in the right place. For me, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying he's completely right, but I think his heart's in the right place. He's concerned about the state of the art of music and the content. I can understand that. He's a parent. He may not be as straight as he'd like to be, but he's also a conditioned Black man in America who may have not done the work to decondition himself, but he has a message. And it's kind of like, I take it for what it is. I'm not going to start praying to CeeLo. I'm just saying I understand. And I think I can understand how he's feeling. And like someone said here on the panel today, someone said, kids can have access to anything. Well, he's got kids and he may be concerned about the fact that even if he says, don't follow this or make sure you know the difference between art and life and so forth, they still can get access to that. And enough repeated exposure to certain things, art imitates life, So I can understand his plight, but I'm not.
I saw my 3-year-old twerking, and I was shocked. And I know her parents don't raise her that way. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is. It's an interesting conversation, though.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make it clear for me that I'm not bashing these women. I like the video.
Neither.
The video you're referring to, Ms. Parker. But I do see music overall has lost, to me, some class in it, some of it. But
can we stress popular music? Because there are artists that are still making the same music that we fell in love with. Absolutely. You just have to dig and find it and go.
Including CeeLo's latest album.
We're talking about his popular music.
Yeah, CeeLo makes good music.
Including his last album. Nobody's even talking about it. I have it, but it's a dope album. Like what he's speaking to.
He's a great artist.
It's in that music. His latest album, you can find it now. It's dope, So I don't know. I understand kind of where he's coming from, but again, I'm not going to start praying to CeeLo. Looking for him for guidance.
Yeah. Well, in today's time where we're obviously in a pandemic, a lot of airplanes are doing what they could to make it safe for people to fly. Well, Southwest has decided no longer to clean seatbelts and armrests in between flights, according to Fox 11 LA. On August 1st, the airline modified its sanitation policy to focus only on bathrooms and tray tables and not including seatbelts and armrests. Those areas will now undergo a deep cleaning for 6 hours at night. And they're saying the reason for that is because it delays the flight so long. And they think that what they're looking to clean will be more effective. That's when people could catch COVID or be exposed to it. Now they said you can bring your own hand sanitizer. They have wipes for you. And they also do a deep cleaning on the plane every 30 days, which allows the plane to kill bacteria for up to 30 days. Ms. Parker, what do you think about this? Is this the time? Are they asking people to not fly with them?
That's where choices come in, right? So you're going to either do your own wiping when you get on Southwest and be okay with that, or you're going to choose another airline, or you're not going to fly. So just adults being adults. What are you going to do as an adult for your own family, for your own, well-being, what decision are you going to make personally? And so they've already told you what they're doing. You have the information. As an individual adult, you get to choose.
Yeah. Chica?
I have said it time and time again. No one cares about anything but the dollar bill. spoke clearly. It's wasting time in between flights. They want to get you there where you're going, turn right back around and get other people where they're going, and the same and so forth and so on. Get this money.
Yeah.
You, like Ms. Parker said, you have to make a choice according to your own lifestyle and how you want to move, what you're going to do. You can bring on your own personal stuff, or you can trust that they're going to take care of you in the fashion in which they're going to take care of you, or not fly with them at all. It's a choice.
And they also said that they will continue to keep that middle seat empty so that you can socially distance. What are your thoughts, Nair?
There are so many ways they could go about this. Do I think this is a great idea? Obviously not. This is something so simply, it could just be looked at and fixed in so many different ways. They could shoot a video and make this a standard part of a video instead of all that other stuff they have. This could be a video. Well, they may not be doing it any longer, but they can walk people through a process, providing them with what the wipes or whatever. This is what you do when you get on. Play that video, and it's so many different ways they could just use some bright minds to kind of alleviate this foolishness that they're gonna start doing, not cleaning the armrests and the seatbelts. There's so many other options. They could employ more people and cut flights even to get more people a chance to work, as well as get more people flying so that they can pay the people. It's just so many. It's silly.
Yeah, I think it's silly too. I mean, people are trying to get back to some kind of new normal, and I think this is just a poor move right here. You know what I mean? You're pretty much telling you're not going to clean. You know what I mean? And I was telling somebody that I had gone to a store last weekend, and I'll say TJ Maxx. Went to TJ Maxx last weekend and to get a shirt, and I mean, they had it. I felt extremely safe. After every customer, they sprayed down the when you put your clothes, you would check out, and they sprayed down the card reader. They had the carts. They had those sprayed. They had the used ones over here, and the fresh ones there. And they required everyone to have masks. I just think this is a poor decision.
Steven, you were so impressed by TJ Maxx. You talked about that all weekend. You're so impressed with TJ Maxx. You talked about that all weekend.
No, I was very because any company that's trying to make their customers feel safe, even the restaurant I went to last weekend, I felt safe. You know what I mean? So, shout out to them. All right, so
I'm sorry. If we as the people, if we make moves according to what's safe for us and what's not safe for us, those companies that don't abide by the times of what's going on now will be phased out eventually.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, now they're saying in Florida that because normally the workers in restaurants have to be tested, like I guess every month or so, and have to have negative test COVID results to keep working. Now in Florida, they don't have to. No test is required. You can just come to work.
Which is horrible because they're the epicenter of where the coronavirus is right now.
And I bet it's got something to do with that exposure to that nucleic acid. That stuff gave me a headache today after I got that test. So I bet repeated exposure of that is probably not good.
I never even thought about that. That's a good perspective.
I took that test today, and I haven't had a headache. And that stuff is so strong, it lingers in your nasal cavity, and it gave me a headache. Who else had it? Haven't you had this test, Chike? Isn't that so strong? It's like cyanide, man. It's like I was like, what in the world?
Yeah, I didn't know that perspective. So
it immediately went up into my wherever it goes, and I was just like, what the heck?
Oh,
I had to come home and sit down for a while. It had to give me a headache. Yeah, give me a headache. So I can imagine that's what they're going through.
Now do that steam cleaning. That steam cleaning to take that away from you.
I will. I got that, and I was like, yeah, that's crazy, man. That is some strong stuff, Yeah.
All right, well, our last story looks like we'll be getting closer than ever to a Whitney Houston featured film biopic. Now, according to the news reports, Sony TriStar Pictures has won the rights to I Want to Dance with Somebody, the featured film on the life and music of the iconic singer. The studio has already set a release date for their 2022 holiday season. While there already been television biopics and documentaries about the life of the legendary Whitney Houston, this will be the first featured film. I Want to Dance Somebody will be produced by Pat Houston on behalf of the Houston's estate, Clive Davis, and more. The film also has the rights to use her music. If you remember the one that Angela Bassett directed, they didn't have the rights to use her actual music. Now, Stella Maggie will direct I Want to Dance Somebody, which will be her first follow-up feature film following February's romantic drama, The Photograph, excuse me, that starred Issa Rae and Lakeith Stanfield. The role of Whitney Houston has not been cast, as no casting decisions have been made. And they're saying that they're not going to ignore the tragic ending, but they're going to mainly focus on the joyous, emotional, heartbreaking celebration of the life of music of the greatest female R&B pop vocalist of all time, tracking her journey from obscurity to musical stardom. Now, the big question is, the person to play Whitney Houston, would it be someone known or would it be an unknown talent? What do you think would be best, Ms. Parker?
I have no opinion on that either or, but I think that they have told the story, okay? They have told the story. I don't think we need any more Whitney Houston anything. I think the best documentary, and I'm a Whitney Houston fan, was when I was a kid, probably not as much as you're a super fan. But there's a documentary that came out last year that was on all the Delta's flight, and I was watching it going to Vegas. Yeah, it's called Whitney. I was just about to look it up. It's called Whitney. And I think that was the best, well-done documentary. I've seen several documentaries because I'm more of a person who like to see people's stories from people who knew them, more so than the movie, because movies, they have to dramatize certain things to make a movie worth going to see, you know? Yeah, they might tell the story, but they may do so in a way that there's different perspective on how you can tell one story. And I think they find a more dramatic way to do so. And sometimes people's lives are dramatic enough. And so I really like documentaries. And so I've seen I have seen every documentary made about Whitney Houston. And the last one I saw, Whitney, I think was the best one done, because I think her family was the most open, because they were in support of that documentary. They were the most open about things that happened to her, that, you know, there were things that I learned that they haven't talked about in any other documentary. I think it was because they didn't have much of a role in those documentaries. But I think we know her story, and I think we just need to let her rest and let her rest in peace, and we need to let it go. I think her fans have enough materials to be able to honor her and have good memories of her, and her music still lives. I think it's time to just let it go. I'm not interested in seeing a biopic of Whitney Houston. I may see if it comes out, but it's not something that I'm excited about.
Okay. Chica?
The documentary that Ms. Parker speaks of is probably admired because that is the documentary that Whitney contributed to herself. She started filming stuff on her own to contribute to that, because she wanted to make a movie of her own life. So that's why it's so good, because all of that footage she contributed to, and the family was in support of that. I don't necessarily need any more juice from this fruit. They've squeezed it enough. We have enough Whitney information. We don't need yet another movie. And according to documents and other literature that I have absorbed, I think that this is a Pat Houston driven project. And from what I'm hearing and reading, Pat Houston is type succubus on this situation. She is one of those individuals that's going to ride this horse until you can't ride it anymore. She's that type of person in the family. So as long as that estate can have revenue, she's going to continue to drive for anything Whitney Houston, because she's the power behind it. I think it's a done deal. They need to let Whitney rest in peace.
Naya, what about you?
I think it would be cool. I haven't seen any of the docs, and I think it would be cool. I think it'd give it a great opportunity for some new actresses. So, you know, when they do these types of biopic films, maybe they can have different people represent her. So it could be an opportunity to break some new actresses, or some ones that are teetering around some great roles. As far as the story, I don't know the story. And up until this point, I'm sure the other docs have been great, but there have been other revelations that have probably made it to the public that there are questions from her fans about. So if they could tell, there will always be that, but maybe they can do a kind of a very comprehensive film up until this point of all the many dots or the other dots. And then this one, if it's produced well enough, it's cool. If it's got a Black director, that's cool. If it's getting some money to her estate and whatever else is happening, that's cool. I think it'd be a good idea. Personally.
It'll be 10 years after the 10-year anniversary that year of her passing. I think that I was actually shocked when I saw this coming out. But if you remember, the other biopic that Angela Bassett produced was for Lifetime, and it was kind of not low budget, but it was, you know what I mean? I think this one, because it's going to be on a much bigger platform with a major studio behind it. What was it? I'm sorry.
You say
Is it
Warner?
Sony? Oh, Warner.
Oh, Sony?
Yeah,
Sony?
Sony TriStar. Yeah. And the person who's behind this, directing this, has done a lot of huge other documents. I remember I saw someone was talking about this, like Entertainment News or something like that. And so I'm curious to see what it turns out. They'll be able to use her music. The other biopic, they had used Deborah Cox singing Whitney songs. And even then she had to do like live performance. She couldn't do studio versions, you know what I mean? So I think, I don't know. I wonder what they're going to tell us that we don't already know. I'll be curious to see, but yeah, I'll be there. Anyway.
First one in line. Pre-open tickets.
All right. Well, listen, this is our last show until end of September, so y'all enjoy, well deserved, and see you in September.
I plan on it too. You guys have a good time.
All right. Right back after this.
Bye.